This is Between the Brackets, a MediaWiki podcast, episode 16, September 4th, 2018. Welcome to Between the Brackets. I'm Yaron Koren. For this episode, I decided to talk to two of my students from this year's Google Summer of Code, and I apologize ahead of time because there's a lot I want to say before bringing them on. For those who don't know, Google Summer of Code is an annual program run by Google since 2005 in which Google pays college students from around the world to work on different open source projects over the summer. Different open source organizations sign up, whether it's the Linux Foundation, the Apache Foundation, or almost 200 others. They then list the projects that are available for students to work on, then students apply and get matched with mentors from those organizations, and Google pays for the whole thing. It's really an amazing program, and you have to give Google an enormous amount of credit for paying out literally millions of dollars every year to support open source. The Wikimedia Foundation has participated in Google Summer of Code, or GSOC, every year since 2006. I've been involved since 2009 via the Wikimedia Foundation. I've been a mentor for a MediaWiki-related project, or more precisely a MediaWiki extension-related project, almost every summer since then. And I also have to give credit to the Wikimedia Foundation for allowing me and other people to mentor projects that probably will never directly benefit sites like Wikipedia, but will hopefully be useful to people running their own MediaWiki sites. This summer, for the first time ever, I decided to mentor two projects. Although I had help, I had some co-mentors on both projects. I wasn't quite sure whether I'd be able to find qualified students for two projects, but as it turned out, there was a lot of interest in both projects, and I had to turn down some very talented and motivated students. Actually, two of the students I turned down ended up working on another Google Summer of Code project with the Wikimedia Foundation, which I think speaks to the quality of the applicants for these two projects. The students that were selected on these two projects of mine were Nikhil, Kumar and Yashdeep Thorat, who are both currently college students in India. I believe they're the 9th and 10th students I've mentored overall for the Google Summer of Code. Not that it's necessarily a big deal, but I'm pretty sure I've mentored more projects via the Wikimedia Foundation than anyone, maybe even twice as much as anyone else. I'd say all 10 projects I've done so far have been successful in that they've produced usable and useful code. Some have involved creating new extensions, and some have involved adding features to existing extensions. I think at least 5 projects have involved the Page Forms extension alone. Anyway, now that the Google Summer of Code has ended, I thought it would be neat to talk to two of my students, both to talk about the specific features they added, and to hear what the Google Summer of Code is like from the other side in general, and what they thought about the program. Now, you could say this is pretty self-indulgent of me to only talk to my own students, and in a sense it is, though I should note that of the 12 students who did this year's Google Summer of Code for the Wikimedia Foundation, I think my two students were the only ones who worked on MediaWiki code, as strange as that may sound. I could be wrong, but I think most of the students worked on other software like apps, analytics tools, web services, that kind of thing. So it could be that only these two are a good fit for this podcast anyway. I've already talked for quite a bit before introducing my guests, maybe too long, but I wanted to say one other thing first, which is that I don't think a lot of the people using so-called enterprise MediaWiki software realize how much of a debt it has to the Google Summer of Code. GSOC projects have greatly improved extensions like Page Forms, semantic result formats, and Cargo, and created whole new extensions like semantic maps and page schemas, along with a lot of others. One of my students, actually my first one, Yaron Koren, later became an important contributor to both Semantic MediaWiki and Wikidata. Another student, Nikhil, who actually had Yaron as his mentor, is now one of the main consultants at my consulting company, WikiWorks, and he does some other interesting projects too. I hope to have both Yaron and Nikhil on the podcast at some point. Anyway, Nikhil, Kumar, and Yashdeep Thorat are here, and I'm excited to talk to both of them. I've actually never talked by voice to either one of them until today, so I'm even more excited to finally have this opportunity. Yashdeep and Nikhil, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Yaron. It feels great to be here.
Very good. Let's start with your backgrounds. Nikhil, where do you live, where do you study, and what are you studying?
I am studying in IIT Guwahati. My major is computer science and engineering. My native place is Bihar. I am from Bihar, and that's all. I think.
Yeah. And how about you, Yashdeep?
So I study in BITS Pilani, Hyderabad campus, and I'm pursuing BE in Bachelor of Engineering in Computer Science and dual degree in Masters in Physics. So, yeah, I study in Hyderabad and I live in Pune.
Great. As a side note, I find it fascinating how all these technology universities have sprung up in India in just the last 20 years or so. Nikhil, you said you study at IIT Guwahati. When was that founded? Do you know?
Yeah, it was founded in 1994. Like, it was given the IIT name in 1994. It was, I think, it existed way before, like in 1940s, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, it's been around since the 40s. Okay.
I think so. Like, I don't know exactly when it was founded.
Although it wasn't a technical school, it wasn't an IT school until the 90s. Okay.
1994.
And Yashdeep, how about BITS Pilani in Hyderabad?
Yes. Yeah, so it was originally established in 70s, and my campus, the campus in Hyderabad, was started in 2008, I think.
Yeah, wow.
So it's pretty recent.
Yeah. Well, it's of course just part of the amazing transformation of India from a technological perspective since the 90s. So, Yashdeep, how did you decide to apply to the Wikimedia Foundation specifically for the Google Summer of Code?
So in the beginning, like every student, I went through the projects which I found that I could maybe apply for because of the requirements that it had. So I shortlisted all the projects which were related to web development, and because I had some experience in it before, and I found Wikimedia very organized at first because there were micro tasks listed for students, and well, I could do them, and it just caught on, and I was really happy to work on them.
Great. How about you, Nikhil?
Like, I knew Wikimedia Foundation earlier, like not and that way, but as you see on Wikipedia pages, there in the corner there is written a Wikimedia project and powered by MediaWiki. So I knew what was Wikimedia, and that's why I was interested in working with Wikimedia at the first place. And I found the project very interesting, so I applied for it. And I am very happy to got selected. I got selected and did the Google Summer for the whole summer.
Very good. I assume both of you were aware of Wikipedia. Did either of you have any knowledge about MediaWiki outside of that before you started?
No, I just knew about MediaWiki and that's all.
Sorry.
Nikhil, you go first.
Yeah, go first. Sorry.
Yeah. I just knew about MediaWiki, what it was, and I didn't have worked with it, but yeah, I just knew what it was.
Yeah.
Other than that, nothing.
Yeah. So for me, I participated in a hackathon which took place in my college. So I think it wasn't an official Wikimedia hackathon, but yeah, I was introduced to MediaWiki through it. So I kind of knew about it before starting. So that was a big plus point in choosing Wikimedia Foundation as my GSOC.
Oh, cool.
Org.
Do you know who set up that hackathon?
I'm not really sure. It was like long ago, but it was someone from our college, and he contacted a person who was very well established with Wikimedia Foundation, I think.
Yeah, cool. We should talk about your projects, since I think these features you added could be interesting to a lot of the people listening, definitely to anyone using Cargo or Page Forms already. And of course, for you guys, explaining your software is a good skill for any programmer. Nikhil, let's start with you. What did you work on?
Yeah, my project was on Cargo extension. I was improving the special Drilldown page, mostly implementing my most relevant part of the project was implementing the parent table part, where like you can join two tables, add parent tables. Like if there are two tables like books and authors, then you can filter the books table using the authors table part. And the other part was adding the custom tabs for showing the drill down results in different formats, where you can like add any fields in in the result. These were the most relevant part of my project.
Right. For context, could you briefly explain the Cargo extension?
Yeah, Cargo extension is like a lightweight solution for storing your data, which you can use in template or info boxes and stuff. It shows the important part of Cargo is the drill down page. It actually shows the whole content of the table in a page, where you can filter and see the content of all the table, and you can manage the table very well.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good explanation. Yashdeep, what was your project?
So I worked on the Page Forms extension. So the Page Forms extension is already pretty huge. So a lot of work has already gone into it. So my focus was on creating a special page for it, which would allow users to edit multiple pages at once through a single interface. So it uses templates. The concept of template calls. So templates are an integral part of MediaWiki. They help users who can be beginners to easily create really great pages. So my task was to list all the template calls in a spreadsheet and allow the users to edit them through a single interface.
Yeah. So it's editing per template.
So the spreadsheet lists all the calls for a particular template, and it uses the PF Auto Edit MediaWiki API to edit the pages using forms. So forms are an integral part of it.
Yeah. Those were both good explanations. I should note that new versions of both of these extensions that contain these new additions will be released in the next few weeks, and anyone who wants to try them out already can just get the latest code for either extension. You can already use the improved special drill down page for Cargo, and you can already use the new spreadsheet style editing for page forms. Yashdeep, did you mention the name of the special page?
Oh, yes. It's the MultiPageEdit special page.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, special multi-page edit. And I think both of those in their own way will be very helpful to users of those extensions. They both are features that people have asked about for a long time, especially the multi-page edit one because Page Forms has been around as an extension for a lot longer. So Yashdeep, what kinds of things did you learn during this project, both in terms of technical skills and more general things?
In terms of technical skills, I think I learned how to use Ajax efficiently, since the page had to be dynamic and it had to allow users to edit the pages, many pages simultaneously. Thus, I wanted to make it look dynamic, and this was only possible using Ajax. So I learned Ajax and callbacks in JS, and a big task for me was to understand the huge code base that is actually present, and use the different modules in my code. So that was a big problem that I had to overcome in a way.
Yeah, are you talking about the MediaWiki code or Page Forms code or both?
Mostly the Page Forms code.
Yeah.
So because I had to use many of the functions and methods that were already present, so that was a big task. And then using it and creating the page was a great experience.
Yeah. And sorry, go ahead.
In terms of other things that I learned, I think this was the first time I collaborated online with with mentors, and at first I thought it would be difficult, but it was really great, and all my mentors, including Yaron, were really supportive and they helped me a lot.
Oh, actually, I have one more question for you, Yashdeep. Was this the first large scale programming project you had done, or at least the biggest one?
Yes, this was definitely the biggest one.
Yeah. Great. Nikhil, what about you? What did you learn both technically and in terms of technical skills and otherwise?
Yeah, technically I learned both languages which I used, PHP and SQL. I didn't know PHP before GSOC program. I had some experience in web development, but it was using Django and stuff. So I learned PHP and SQL both in the meantime. And also I had experience with many JS libraries. Yeah, I had to learn too much about full calendar.js. It wasn't used, but I learned it. So, and also I learned something about some semi timeline, I think it was named, and JS, yeah.
Right, you're talking about a JavaScript called Simile Timeline. Yeah.
Okay, Simile Timeline, sorry. Yeah. And also there were some trade-offs between user experiences and the features we talked about on the Slack. Yeah, I learned about them, how you should get the code, give the user some features. You can't give user all the features because the actual how you will implement it, it will become very messy and user may not like it even if you give him all the features. So this was on the other side, not technical side, but yeah, it was.
Yeah, that's very interesting. That's a big part of what my development work, I suppose, is deciding on those kinds of trade-offs between giving users flexibility and making it simple, easy to use, and easy to understand. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, it's definitely an art, and it's just something that you just get an instinct from with practice. I think. Great. Did you? There was also a CSS component. Did you learn CSS, or did you know that already?
Oh no, I knew that already. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I learned some gradient and stuff, but yeah.
Gradients. Yeah, at some point we talked about using gradients. It could have worked out, but we ended up doing a different approach. Yeah, that's right. And Nikhil, was this the first major programming project for you?
This was the biggest project I have ever done. I have worked in team but not on data scale. Team, I mean here by team I mean team in the college and stuff. But yeah, this was the biggest project I've ever done.
Cool. Now, there are two main goals to the Google Summer of Code. The first is to get projects done with students' help, and the second is to bring in new contributors to open source projects who will ideally become long-term developers. I want to ask about that, but first I should note that only maybe about 10 to 15% of Google Summer of Code students with the Wikimedia Foundation have stayed on with MediaWiki or Wikimedia after the summer ended, I think. So it's not like there's some massive expectation that either of you will keep doing this work. But anyway, Nikhil, what kind of things do you want to do after you graduate?
Yeah, I mentioned you on Slack that I want to add that rating part in Cargo. And also you mentioned another task about end date and start date thing for date type fields. Yeah, I want to add that too. I will be contributing to MediaWiki gradually and slowly, but yeah, I will contribute.
Right. Yeah. No, that's fantastic, and actually, it's good that you said that. I'm glad to hear that you are going to keep contributing to the Drilldown page specifically. Although what I was asking is, after you graduate from college, I mean, what kind of things are you interested in potentially doing?
I don't know exactly what I am interested in. I have just entered in my third year of the college, so it's 1.5 years till I graduate. So I don't know exactly, but I think I am doing I'm thinking of some startup or stuff I will be doing. Like I'm learning blockchains too at this time of time. Like this time, I am trying to like decentralize the whole Wikipedia concept here. Like I am doing a project right now, so that I can decentralize the whole Wikipedia. There is also research going on that like how the cache management system actually will work over decentralized if we decentralize the Wikipedia and stuff. Like I am actually thinking of startups. Yeah, after this I graduate. Yeah.
Oh, very interesting. Okay. And Yashdeep, how about you?
I too haven't decided, but currently I'm doing some courses in my college, so I plan to explore those fields. I'm doing courses in computer graphics and a course in information retrieval. So I plan to explore those topics more. And if possible, to further studies after my graduation, but I haven't decided yet. So, and if when it comes, as for the MediaWiki project, I think I will make some more additions to it, and if I think of any new idea that can be implemented in Page Forms, I will surely try to discuss it with people.
Yeah, that's great. One thing I do want to say to both of you and to anyone else who's listening and thinking of doing MediaWiki as a full-time profession, it's obviously just one project out of many that one can do as a programmer. But I just wanted to note that it seems to be a lot easier to make money from MediaWiki than it used to be. When I first started out 10 years ago, there were maybe 10 or 20 people around the world doing anything that could be called enterprise MediaWiki work, but now it might be closer to 100. And that includes consultants and people doing implementation and development within their own company. And that's not even mentioning the large number of developers working for the Wikimedia Foundation, Wikimedia Germany, etc., or all the volunteer developers. Anyway, I think those are most of my questions, but Yashdeep, do you have any final thoughts about the Google Summer of Code? Was it more or less work than you thought it would be? Would you recommend to others to do it next year?
Yeah, so in terms of work, I think it was less work than I expected in terms of the hours that I had to put in the project. And I would definitely recommend it to others, because it's not just the technical stuff that I learned. It was there were other things that I learned, like collaborating online. Then I learned how to use how to use collaboration tools like Gerrit and how to use Git efficiently, and like many other things that were not related to the project as such. And I would definitely recommend it to anyone who is interested in contributing to open source or interested in coding in general, working on big projects. Because I think in the end, when your code gets merged and when it gets deployed, I think that is the best, that is the happiest moment. So I think I would definitely recommend to anyone who's even a little bit interested in this.
Cool, that's great. Nikhil, how about you?
About recommending to others, I will definitely recommend and about work, I can't say exactly if it was more or less. Sometimes it was not even more, and sometimes it was very less. On some days, I even did 10 hours of work. Even you were sitting with me one day for more than 5 hours, in cafe when your internet connection was disconnected. Do you remember that? I don't think so. You remember that?
I remember. I don't know. I remember a lot of talking online.
Okay. And about expectations. It was great. And why I recommend to others, you get the experience like working on that complex and big projects and working on a real-time project. Most like the biggest part of it is like on the real time, like millions of users, not millions, but yeah, many users are using it, and you definitely gain much more experience than you would work if you would work on normal projects. So it's great.
Yeah. Very good. Well, I think that's it for my questions. Thanks to both of you. It was great to finally talk.
Yes, it was great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
This has been another episode of Between the Brackets. I want to thank my guests, Nikhil, Kumar, and Yashdeep Thorat, who are also my Google Summer of Code students. They did a great job during GSOC, and it was a pleasure to talk to them. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.